Hello viewers, welcome to Unacademy. Let's crack management exams English. If you see, the channel name is suffixed with the word English because the lectures will be provided in English language on this channel. That said, understand that Unacademy is India's largest learning platform. I'll very quickly introduce myself before moving on to today's topic, which is averages. I am Arjun R. Prasad, an engineer with 12 plus years of teaching experience, having trained more than 6,000 CAT aspirants in the fields of quantitative aptitude, data interpretation, data sufficiency, and logical reasoning, as well as to crack the personal interview. I have trained more than 4,000 students to crack the campus recruitment exams. That said, let us get started with today's topic, which is averages. Before moving ahead, we need to understand the meaning of the term average. Average is nothing but sum of all the observations divided by the total number of observations. Just understanding the meaning of the term average and the capacity to solve the questions is not sufficient. We need to understand where average is a good data point to go ahead with and where it is not. For example, take the situation where at the end of every year, top B schools provide in their bulletin the average pay package for that particular batch. Now, if you think that you are among the average of that top crowd, you stand a chance to get that type of a salary. I am not trying to discourage you or disappoint you, but just trying to make a point over here. If you are going ahead with that thought, that data point is not a good data point to go ahead with, because let me give you a hypothetical scenario. Let us say there are 10 students in a class. 8 of them end up with a salary or a package of 20 lakhs per month. Sorry, 20 lakhs per year. Fine. And 2 of them end up with a salary of 2 crores per annum each. What happens to the average? 8 people, 20 lakhs per annum. The total comes out to be 1.6 crores. And 2 of them, each of them ending up with 2 crore rupee offer. That means the total comes out to be 4 crores. To that 4 crores, the 1.6 crores if added becomes 5.6 crores. 5.6 crores divided by 10, which is 56 lakhs. So the B school would provide in their bulletin that the average package is 56 lakhs. But what you get in reality would be, in this example, only 20 lakhs. So that is the difference. So average is not a good data point to go ahead with at every point of time. Is that clear? Now, let us see some of the points to note with respect to averages. Let us take 5 numbers. Let us say I take 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. What is the average of these 5 numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Given that these numbers are in arithmetic progression where the consecutive terms difference is exactly the same, the average will be the middle term, which is nothing but 3. Now, instead of taking 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, increase every observation by 1. That means now we are dealing with average of 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. The average of 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 will be 4. Multiply every value by 2. So we are going to deal with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The average will be 6. Right? So every observation, if it gets increased by a constant k, average gets increased by the same constant k. If every observation gets decreased by a value k, average gets decreased by k. If every observation gets multiplied by a constant k, the average gets multiplied by the constant k. Right? And at the same time, we need to understand that simple average or weighted average will always lie in the closed interval of the least value and the largest value among the observations. It cannot be lower than the least, it cannot be greater than the largest. Is that clear? The same statements I have given it in writing over here. If every observation is increased by a constant k, average also gets increased by k. If every observation gets decreased by a constant k, average also gets decreased by k. If every observation is multiplied by a constant k, average also gets multiplied by k. And at the same time, simple as well as weighted average always lies in the closed interval of the smallest and the largest value among the observations. That said, let us look at some of the questions. The first question comes here. 8 persons have 32, 42, 52, 62, 72, 82, 92 and 102 marbles with them. Each of them is given 12 marbles. What is the average number of marbles with them now? This question can be solved in multiple ways. One way to solve it is, first consider that you have given 12 marbles to each of them. So the number of marbles with them now will be nothing but 44, 54, 64, 74, 84, 94, 104 and 114. You can take the sum of these values and then divide the total by 8 and we get the average. That is one way of solving. Is there any other different way? Another way of solving would be add up 32, 42, 52, 62, 72, 82, 92, 102, divide it by 8, you get a value. Because every value of the initial is increased by 12, the average also gets increased by 12. To the average add 12 and you get your answer. The another way of solving it will be, if we observe the set of values are in arithmetic progression over here, the difference between the consecutive terms is a constant. So whenever we are dealing with an arithmetic progression, the average will nothing but be the middle value. Given that there are 8 values over here, what is the middle value? The midpoint of the fourth and the fifth. What is the fourth? 62. What is the fifth? 72. What is the midpoint? 67. Add 12 to that. We end up with 79. And 79, my friends, is the average of number of marbles with the people now. The same thing, whatever I have stated, I have given it in a written explanation over here. 32, 42, 52, 62, 72, 82, 92, 102. The middle terms is nothing but 62, 72. The midpoint, therefore, will be 67. Add 12 to that, you end up with 79. So the average number of marbles with them now will be 79. Is that clear? Let us move on with another question, which is, what is the average of all the 2-digit numbers which leave a remainder of 3 when divided by 7? What is the average of all the 2-digit numbers which leave a remainder of 3 when divided by 7? So the smallest 2-digit number which satisfies this constraint is nothing but 10, because 7 into 1 plus 3. The next will be 7 into 2 plus 3, which is 17. The next 7 into 3 plus 3, which is 24. Observe this: 10, 17, difference is 7. 17, 24, difference is 7. So we keep on continuing the same way until what? And up till the point where we are still dealing with a 2-digit number. So the largest 2-digit number which satisfies this constraint will be 7 into 13 plus 3, which is 91 plus 3, which is 94. Because 7 into 14, of course, is 98, but when you add 3, it becomes a 3-digit number. So we end up at 7 into 13 plus 3, which is 94. Now how many terms are we dealing with? 13 terms. They are in arithmetic progression. Therefore, the average will be what? The average will be the middle term. What is the middle term? Middle term is the seventh term. When we are dealing with 13 numbers, 6 numbers on the left, 6 numbers on the right. So the in between, exactly in the middle, we are left with the seventh number. What is the seventh number here? 7 into 7 plus 3. 7 into 7, 49, 49 plus 3, which is nothing but 52. Therefore, the average of all the two-digit numbers which leave a remainder of 3 when divided by 7 is nothing but 52. Another way to solve, I'll come to it, but before that, the written explanation for whatever I stated now. 7 into 1 plus 3, 7 into 2 plus 3, 7 into 3 plus 3, dot 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 till 7 into 13 plus 3. 10, 17, 24, dot 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 till 94. Middle term 7 into 7 plus 3, which is 52. Another way to solve it is, given that the terms are in arithmetic progression, the average will nothing but be the average of the first and the last term. What is the average of the first and the last term? 10 plus 94 divided by 2, which is nothing but 52. That is the average. Is that clear? Let me move on with another question now. Number of visitors to Statue of Unity on 5 consecutive days are 2212, 2213, 2256, 2283 and 2286 respectively. What is the average number of visitors on the 5 days? One way to solve it would be to add these values. 2212 plus 2213 plus 2256 plus 2283 plus 2286 and take this total, divide it by 5 and you get the answer. Is there another way of solving? Yes, of course. Over here, we can go ahead with something called as assumed average method, which means 2200, take the 2200 to be a constant number on each of those 5 days. Then take whatever is in excess. So 2200 means over here 12 I take it, from here 13 I take, from here 56 I take, from here 83 I take, and from here 86 I take. So if I take those numbers 12 plus 13 plus 56 plus 83 plus 86, the total is nothing but 250. 250 divided by 5 is nothing but 50. That means the average number of visitors on the 5 days is nothing but 2200, which was already there, plus this 50, which is 2250. The same thing whatever I have stated now, I have explained it in writing over here. Consider 2200, which is common, just keep it as it is, assumed average, and to that add the average of the excess values 12, 13, 56, 83 and 86, the total divided by 5, which is 2200 plus 250 divided by 5, which is nothing but 2200 plus 50, which is 2250. Is that clear? Let us move on with another question. The average age of 24 students who attended live class taught by Arjun is 21 years. If Arjun's age is also included, then the average age of group increases by 1 year. What is Arjun's age? Now, the same question can be solved by what I call it as chocolate theory without using paper and pen. If we visualize, it is as good as 24 students in a class, each one having 21 chocolates. Okay, 24 students are there, each of them has 21 chocolates. Now Arjun, who is the teacher, comes in with certain number of chocolates. When he comes in with certain number of chocolates, the average number of chocolates with each person in the room goes up by 1, which means Arjun first keeps the 21 chocolates, which is the average, which was the previous average. Because the average got increased by 1, he takes one more chocolate, he keeps it with himself. So he has kept 22 chocolates with himself, and the remaining he distributes it such that he increases the number of chocolates with each one by 1. Therefore, how many chocolates does he have remaining now? 24 chocolates, because he has to give one chocolate to each student. So he has 24. He kept 22 chocolates. He gave 24 chocolates. So before this, how many chocolates did he have? 22 plus 24. What is 22 plus 24? 46. Therefore, what is Arjun's age? 46 years. Is that clear? Without using any paper or pen, we can solve the questions. Got it? However, if we want to solve it by using the traditional method, I have given you that method as well, which is 24 students. The average age is 21 years. So the total age will be 24 into 21. To that, add Arjun's age. Now the total will be equal to, there are 25 people and the average age now is 22 years. So simplify this. X will be equal to 25 into 22 minus 24 into 21. X is equal to 25 into 22 is 550 minus 24 into 21 is 504. So x is equal to 550 minus 504. X is equal to 46. Therefore, Arjun's age is 46 years. Is that clear? Hope you understood the concept. Let me move on to the next question. Average score of a group of 13 friends in an exam is 60 marks. One of them left and the average score of the remaining came down by 1.5 marks. What is the score of the person who left? Again, we can solve by using the similar chocolate theory, which is, assume or visualize that there are 13 students who are sitting. Each one has 60 chocolates with them. 13 students are sitting. Each one has 60 chocolates with them. One of them stands up and walks out of the room. While walking out, he snatches away 1.5 chocolates, 1.5 chocolates from each of the 12 people. So, how many chocolates did he go out with? 60 chocolates he already had. Now he has snatched 1.5 chocolates from each of them. Therefore, 1.5 chocolates from each of the 12 means he has snatched 18 chocolates. 60 chocolates plus 18 chocolates. He walked out with 78 chocolates. So the score of the person who left is nothing but 78 marks. That's all. And that is the answer. The answer would be 78. Is that clear? If we don't want to solve it that way, we want to still resort to the traditional method of solving. Here it is. The average score is 60 marks for 13 friends. It is 30. So the total score will be 13 into 60. Out of this, one person goes out. Let us say his score is X marks. So X marks has gone out. Now what are we left with? 12 people. The average score now came down by 1.5. So the average score now is 58.5. So the total score is nothing but 12 times of 58.5. Now if we simplify this, X will be equal to 13 into 60, which is 780, minus 12 into 58.5, which is 702. Therefore, X is equal to 78. So the score of the person who left is nothing but 78 marks. Is that clear? Let us move ahead with another question. I'll give you a couple of minutes for you to solve and then I shall help you. The question is as follows. The average number of pebbles with a group of 12 friends increased by 1 when one of them left with the pebbles he had and another friend joined them with 27 pebbles. What is the number of pebbles with the person who left? You have 2 minutes time. Okay. Now, if we want to solve this by using the similar chocolate theory again, there are 12 friends. They have certain number of chocolates, the average number of chocolates. Fine. Now, one person goes out and another person came in. So, the number of people has not changed. But when one person goes out with certain number of chocolates and another person comes in with 27 chocolates, it is as good as 12 chocolates coming into the room extra, right? So one person who goes out with X chocolates, another person who comes with X number of chocolates, there won't be any change. Now this is a situation where one person went out with X number of chocolates and another person came in with X plus 12 number of chocolates. So the person who came in with X plus 12 number of chocolates. So X plus 12 number of chocolates is equal to 27. If X plus 12 is equal to 27, then X is equal to 27 minus 12. 27 minus 12 is 15. So X is equal to 15. Means the number of pebbles with the person who left is nothing but 15. The person who left with 15 pebbles. Is that clear? To solve it in a traditional manner, let us consider this situation. Let us say the average number of pebbles initially is X. So the total number of pebbles will be 12 times of X. Out of this, the person who walks out has Y pebbles with him. We have to find the value of Y. So now the number of pebbles will be 12X minus Y. And then a person came in with 27 pebbles. So the number of pebbles now will be 12X minus Y plus 27. This final number of pebbles is nothing but the total number of pebbles now, which is 12 times of X plus 1. Why X plus 1? Because X was the initial average. Now, because of all of this, the average went up by 1. So, the total number now is 12 times of X plus 1. Simplify, we will get 12X minus Y plus 27 is equal to 12X plus 12. 12X and 12X gets cancelled out. Y will be equal to 27 minus 12, which is nothing but 15. And this is the same thing that we got by using the chocolate theory as well. Is that clear? Again, the same thought. People who are good with calculations, go ahead with this method. If you are good with your logical reasoning capacity, go ahead with chocolate theory. That would be my recommendation. Fine. Now that said, let us look at another question. The average age of 4 people, Raja, Ram, Mohan and Roy, 4 years ago was 23 years. Ram left the group and Krishna joined the group. If the average age of Raja, Krishna, Mohan and Roy 3 years from now is 21 years, what is the difference between present ages of Ram and Krishna? You have 2 minutes time to solve this. Okay, let us see how we can solve it without using paper and pen now. Now there are 4 people, Raja, Ram, Mohan and Roy. Their average age 4 years ago was 23 years. So if the average age of the 4 people 4 years ago was 23 years, every year each person gets older by 1 year. Now these 4 people, when each of them gets older by 1 year, the average also goes up by 1. Every year the average goes up by 1. So 4 years ago, if the average was 23 years, today the average will be 23 plus 4, which is 27 years. So today the average age of Raja, Ram, Mohan and Roy will be 27 years. So what will the total age of these 4 people be? 27 times 4, 27 into 4. Okay. Ram leaves the group, Krishna joins the group. The average age of Raja, Krishna, Mohan and Roy 3 years from now is 21. See, 3 years from now, the average age of these 4 people is 21. So today, the average age of these 4 people will be 21 minus 3, which is nothing but 18. What is the total age of these 4 people, Raja, Krishna, Mohan and Roy? 18 into 4, right? Now, if you subtract one equation from another, Raja gets cancelled, Mohan gets cancelled, Roy gets cancelled. Ram minus Krishna will be 27 times 4 minus 18 times 4. We don't have to multiply the 27 times 4 directly, because 27 times 4 minus 18 times 4 can be written as 4 times of 27 minus 18. What is 4 times of 27 minus 18? 27 minus 18 is nothing but 9. So 4 times of 9, which is nothing but 36. Therefore, the difference between the present ages of Ram and Krishna is 36 years. I have provided you with the written solution over here. Raja plus Ram plus Mohan plus Roy, the total is equal to 27 times 4. Raja plus Krishna plus Mohan plus Roy, the total is equal to 18 times 4. The difference of these two equations, if we take, Raja gets cancelled, Mohan gets cancelled, Roy gets cancelled, Ram minus Krishna will be equal to 27 minus 18, 9 times of 4, which is nothing but 36. Is that clear? Let us proceed with another question. The question is as follows. In a remote village in West Bengal, there are 750 women and 500 men. Since the village was affected by flood, Government of India decided to provide aid to the villagers at the rate of rupees 4,000 per woman and rupees 8,000 per man in the village. What is the average contribution by the Government of India to the person in the village? You have 2 minutes time. Okay? If we want to solve it without using paper and pen, this is the way we go ahead with. If we understand, we see that 750 women, 500 men, this appears in the numerator as well as 750 plus 500, so it appears in the denominator as well. So the common factor anyway gets nullified. Given that, we can simplify and just take the ratio of the number of women and men for our consideration. The ratio of number of women to men will be 75 is to 50, which is same as 3 is to 2. So it is as good as, for calculation purpose, it is as good as considering there are 3 women and 2 men. 3 women, each of them has been given 4,000 rupees. 2 men, each of them has been given 8,000 rupees. So 4,000, 4,000, 4,000 is fine. For 8,000 and 8,000, I will first let them have the 4,000 and 4,000 to create a level playing field. And then I take away 4,000 and 4,000 from the men. Now as a moderator, I have 8,000 rupees. This 8,000 rupees I have to distribute equally among 5 people. Each person will now get 1,600 rupees more. Therefore, to the 4,000 rupees that the person had, they got 1,600. That means the average is 5,600. That's it. No need of any complicated calculations, nothing. It's as simple as this. However, like we solved the previous questions, if you need to make use of paper and pen and solve it, 750 women, 4,000 rupees given, so the total amount given to women will be 750 into 4,000, plus the amount given to men, 500 men, each man 8,000 rupees, so 500 into 8,000. This entire money was divided among 750 plus 500 people, the total number of people in that village. If we see, 250 is a common factor, so take out 250. Therefore, we are left with 3 into 4,000 plus 2 into 8,000. Whole thing divided by 250 is common, so take out 250, you're left with 3 plus 2. If you observe this part, 3 into 4000 plus 2 into 8000 by 3 plus 2, this is the same as what I stated as just the ratio of number of people is good enough. Now, if we simplify this, 3 into 4000, which is 12,000, 8 into 2000, which is 16,000, 12,000 plus 16,000 is 28,000, 3 plus 2 is 5. So 28,000 by 5, which is 5,600. So the average contribution by Government of India to the person in the village is 5,600 rupees. Is that clear? That said, let us look at another question. In a school, every grade has two sections, A and B. Number of students in section A and B in grade 2 are in the ratio 3:2. In maths exam, average score of grade 2 section A was 40 marks and average score of grade 2 section B was 80 marks. What is the average score of grade 2 in maths exam? Just as in the previous question, whatever we saw, since we know the ratio of the number of students, we can directly consider that there are 3 students in section A and 2 students in section B. It will not change our answer in any way. So if we consider it that way, 3 of them 40, 40, 40, 2 of them 80 and 80. To first, let us create the level playing field 40, 40, 40. For the people who got 80 and 80, let us say 40 and 40 are with them. So the extra 40 and 40. So the total 80 is with me as a moderator. Now I have to distribute this 80 equally among 5 kids. If I distribute this 80 equally among 5 kids, each kid gets 16. The kid already has 40, the kid now gets 16. That means the average is nothing but 40 plus 16, which is 56. If you want to solve it using paper and pen, this is what we get. 3 times of 40 plus 2 times of 80 divided by 5. Technically speaking, this should be 3x times 40 plus 2x times 80 divided by 5x. X and x gets cancelled out. 280 divided by 5. 280 by 5 is 56. Therefore, the average score of grade 2 in maths exam is 56 marks. Let us look at another question. It says, in a school, every grade has two sections A and B. The average marks of students in section A and B of grade 2 in maths exam is in the ratio 1:2. If grade 2 section A has 75 students and grade 2 section B has 50 students, then what is the average score of grade 2 in maths exam? Understand that the ratio that is given is for the score, not for the number of students. If I know the ratio for the number of students, I can go ahead and calculate. But if I have the ratio of the scores, I cannot calculate unless and until I know the value of the constant of proportionality, because the score appears only in the numerator and not in the denominator. Therefore, the answer to this question will be cannot be determined. Right? However, if you still want to solve it using paper and pen and then come to the conclusion that the answer is cannot be determined, here it goes. 75 students, let us say the average score is X marks, therefore the total score is 75X. 50 students, let us say the score then therefore will be average score, therefore will be 2x. So 50 times of 2x. So the total will be 75x plus 50 times of 2x divided by the total number of students 75 plus 50. If I simplify, I'll get it as 7x by 5. Unless and until I know the value of x, I cannot find the answer. Therefore, the answer will be cannot be determined. Is that clear? Friends, let me summarize whatever we have learned in this session. We learned the concept of average. We understood that average is not a good data point at every point of time. Arithmetic of averages, that is, if each observation increases by k, average increases by k. Each observation decreases by k, average decreases by k. If each observation gets multiplied by k, average gets multiplied by k. Range of the average. Average always lies between the least and the largest value among the observations. Calculation of average with assumed average method. Example is the Statue of Unity question, number of visitors. Right? And for many questions, we solved them very quickly without using paper and pen, using the what I call chocolate theory for solving average questions. Hope you enjoyed this session. If you like more such sessions, do subscribe to the channel. Do subscribe to Unacademy. And when you subscribe, this is what you get. You get access to the daily live classes which simulate the classroom method of teaching. You have access to the live tests and quizzes. You have access to the structured courses. Just one subscription gives you unlimited access to all the educators. And you can attend the live classes, the batch classes. Also, Unacademy provides you the advantage of you being able to schedule the classes as well as coming up with a schedule that works for you. You can learn anytime and anywhere with language not being a barrier. You can interact with the educator, get your doubts cleared, answer the live polls. You can answer the live tests and quizzes. You will be provided with the detailed report and analysis of every exam that you attempt on the platform. You have access to the learning material and the PDFs. All of this comes at a very reasonable subscription fee of 21,000 rupees for 24 months. However, if you like this session, you can show your love towards my way of teaching by using the code APUS while subscribing. And when you key in this code APUS, you get an instant discount of 10%, thereby making your subscription fee for 24 months to be just 18,900 rupees. See, for 12 months it is 15,750. For 24 months it is 18,900, and the difference is nothing but just 1 month subscription fee. Just by paying 1 month subscription fee, you get access to 12 more months. Therefore, this is an extreme value for money buy, right? Do subscribe, and it is strongly recommended that you subscribe for 24 months. It is not to convey a message that cracking CAT in the first attempt or in this year is difficult or anything of that nature. It is just to ensure that if you subscribe for 24 months, you have opportunity and access to humongous amount of study material which helps you increase your knowledge base. Is that clear? That's it. Hope you enjoyed the session. Have a nice day. Do subscribe. And while subscribing, do not forget the code APUS. Arjun Prasad Unacademy subscribe. APUS. Hope to see you soon again. Thank you. This is Arjun Prasad signing off.